Fight!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fighting with Numbers. This is episode 44. We'll be previewing UFC Vegas 118, back at the Apex. Who doesn't love a good Apex card, huh? Nothing says we've got a big card coming up like an Apex event. Well, last week in Macau, overnight, at 1 o'clock in the morning, the model went 4-1-1. That was a no contest situation. Below the belt situation there. Strong week from the model. Good predictions on the right side. Like I said, it was a very chalky night. So that's kind of how it played out. So it went in the model's favor. I haven't had a ton of bets the last few weeks. So it's been, it's very up and down as far as profit goes because I've just had one or two bets every single card. So there's not a lot to write home about. The card quality and the edge availability has been very lean. And I'm sorry to report it probably will be this week as well, but the model keeps finding the right spots, the right sides when it matters, right? It's just trying to figure out how to actually price that and how to find a bet on some of these bigger favorites. The season record now stands at 62, 34, and 6. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep protecting the bankroll and the record. This week, as I mentioned, the UFC is back at the Apex for UFC Vegas 118. Former welterweight champion Belal Muhammad looks to right the ship against rising contender Gabriel Bonfim, who has some serious momentum going right now. I'm going to break down 3 fights on the card today, including that main event. And if you've forgotten, remember the name. Not Bilal's name, my name. I am Rob Moreno, a.k.a. Bobby Knuckles, a.k.a. The Robbio. Find me across all social medias at The Robbio. Full model data and season dashboard is where? fightingwithnumbers.com. If you haven't checked out the website, just go visit it. Just click around. It's very nice. It's very pretty. I've made it very organized, very nice, very good. And hey, send me some feedback. Let me know. Is there something else you'd like to see on the website? Is there anything that isn't properly understandable? Is there anything you need help with? Do you want me to put up a paywall? If you guys want it, I'll do it. It's free right now. So go check it out. Check it out while it's free. Next week, we've got a big one, 2 title fights at UFC 250 Freedom. So that's exciting. It's going to be a very small fight card. So we'll see how much we get to model. Next week's a big one. This Apex card is definitely in that there's something bigger coming type of vibe. Usually we get these Apex-y events kind of sandwiched in between a random international card, a bigger card next week, and we got this card in the middle. But it's all good. I've got a nice Sonic beverage here, snuck out real quick before the podcast. Got a little bevy because it is hot in Vegas right now. I am not ready for summer, but here we are. And I gave all that information to you because you care about it. You care about me as a human being. But this is what you really want. UFC Vegas 118 betting preview. Let's get into it. Take a nice little sip of my soda before we get going. Fix the hat real quick and let's go. We're going to start with probably the ugliest fight on the card. I don't mean visually. I mean on paper. Priscilla Cachoeira versus Chelsea Chandler. Let's start right here. And I'm going to be honest, right out of the gate. This isn't a fight about who's good. This is a fight about who's less bad, I guess. Priscilla Cachoeira is on a 2-fight losing streak and has managed just 1 win in her last 5. And yes, has she cashed as big dogs before? Yes, she has. Will it be today? We'll see. No spoilers here. Chelsea Chandler, equally as uninspiring, if not more. Also on a 2-fight losing streak, going 2-3 in her last 5. 2 weight misses sprinkled in for good measure as well. One of these women has to win this fight. Hopefully, I guess we do have draws, but according to the model, one of them has to win. The model has to pick a side. So let's figure out which one we're going to go on. Bam. Chelsea holds a 3-inch reach advantage at 68 inches. That's where the advantages for either fighter start to feel almost irrelevant once you see the XR percentage numbers. Sit tight. This is bumpy. Chelsea Chandler sits at 36% XR percentage. That is bad. Anything below 50% is a red flag to me. I say that every week when I run across these. But Cachoeira is down at 19% XR percentage. 19. That's across 13 UFC fights. This isn't a small sample size issue. It's not like she got dominated in 2 of her 3 only UFC fights. This is a fighter who has been losing the overwhelming majority of her rounds for her entire UFC career. Not good. I genuinely don't know how you sustain that number over 13 fights and still end up on the roster, but here we are. I guess when you sneak in a win here and there, you get to stick around. Well, mention that to Tai Tuivasa. He hasn't done that yet. The striking explains these numbers immediately, though. Cachoeira lands 4.43 significant strikes per minute. There's some output there, but she carries a negative negative 3.17 significant strike differential. That means she's absorbing 7.60 significant strikes per minute. That number is almost hard to believe. She's walking into storms and refusing to move her face out of the way. Chandler, nothing crazy to write home about. She lands 3.55 significant strikes per minute with a negative 0.89 differential. Also on the wrong side of the ledger, but she's absorbing only 4.44 per minute. Neither is clean, but one is just dramatically worse than the other. The grappling, very thin for both. Chandler holds a 55% control rate with 3 takedowns, 60% accuracy. I guess there's something there. Cachoeira, 6% control rate. 6, yes, in the single digits. Also, only 2 career takedowns. This fight is almost certainly staying on the feet, which, given the striking numbers, means it's gonna be messy. It's gonna be ugly. The model has no choice here. Chelsea Chandler, 79% win probability. Very confident in the score from the model, not because Chandler is impressive, but because Cachoeira's numbers are historically poor. The odds are currently around minus 130, which for a 79% model score is still a genuine edge. I actually grabbed her yesterday at minus 115, so I'm very happy with that number. I did see her bounce back down to minus 125 elsewhere earlier today, recording First Strike. Check it out on VSiN, available tomorrow. But I like the number at minus 115, obviously. I would still say minus 130. This is a plug your nose and hold your breath because this one's not going to look great, but hopefully we're on the right side. Chelsea Chandler minus 115 is one of my bets this week. All right, let's hit the co-main event here. Brendan Allen versus Edmen Shahbazyan. This is the kind of matchup, it makes the model kind of earn its keep because on paper, these guys are nearly identical when you look at things. Brendan Allen closed out 2025 on a 2-fight win streak, beating Marvin Vettori and Rainier de Ritter. Before that, he had dropped 2 to snap what was a 7-fight win streak in the UFC. The potential for another long run is always there for him, but can he build the momentum is the question. Edmen Shahbazyan comes in on a 3-fight win streak, collecting all 3 victories in 2025 alone. He's had his ups and downs in the UFC, but right now he's trending in the right direction, and he wants to make a statement in the co-main event slot. If there's anything on the line here, it's momentum in a very busy division. Now, physically, these guys are actually pretty identical. Both 6'2", both 75-inch reach, 0 physical edge for either man in that respective. XR percentages. Brendan Allen, 59%. Shahbazyan, 60%. As tight as that can get. The striking, man, we're looking at another dead heat. Allen, 3.58 significant strikes per minute with a 0 differential. Absolutely flat. Literal shot for shot. Shahbazyan lands 3.64 significant strikes per minute with a 0.07 differential. We're splitting hairs here. It's dang near identical for these two in the striking metrics. Where Edmen does separate slightly, though, is in his power department. He has scored 7 knockdowns in the UFC compared to just 3 for Brendan Allen. And Allen is the only one of the two who has been knocked down twice. Small but relevant detail in a fight that's already this close. Grappling is where Allen tries to make his name, obviously. 56% control rate, 21 takedowns in the UFC, 15 submission attempts. He is relentlessly active on the ground when he gets there. Shahbazyan, he does hold a 66% takedown defense and a 46% control rate for himself. He's not as offensive on the ground, but he's not helpless either. The model sees it Brendan Allen's way, though. All in, just barely, though. Brendan Allen, 63% win probability. Here's where we got to stop. His odds are sitting at minus 215 at the moment, if not somewhere around there, implying 68%. The model has him at 63%. The juice has overshot the edge, and Allen lands also as a tier 5 trap favorite. That tier, currently for the year, the reason we stay away from him is that favorites that the model identifies as tier 5 are only hitting about 56% of the time this year. When you're looking at fighters with odds around minus 215, you don't want to hit 56% of the time. There's a reason we keep walking away from numbers like that. Brendan Allen's the official prediction. It's what's going to go on the track. He is not a bet, though, at the moment. Not at minus 215 and only 63% model score and a tier 5 grade. That just are the type of plays we stay away from. Watch this one. I'm not betting it at the moment. Ooh, my fan turned off in my recording studio here, and it got a little warm during that last segment, but it's back on. We got a nice little breeze. I'm sorry if you can hear a fan, but it is hot in Vegas, so it is time for fans in these rooms for sure. And without wasting any more of your time, here is the main event. Bilal Muhammad versus Gabriel Bonfim. Bonfim here at UFC Apex. Let's talk about a former champion trying to prove he still belongs at the top. He doesn't want to be forgotten. Remember the name. Belal Muhammad's run to the welterweight title was one of the more methodical climbs we've seen. A 10-fight win streak ended with a unanimous decision over Leon Edwards to capture gold in 2024. Then JDM happened, a dominant title defensive loss. Then Ian Machado Gary, back in November, back-to-back losses, a former champion now on a 2-fight skid at 37 years old. I feel like he turned older overnight. And I guess that's everyone's story, especially my own. Anyways, the question everyone's asking, is Belal still who he was? Or is this the beginning of the end for another former champion? Now, across from him is Gabriel Bonfim, 28 years old, 19-1 professionally. He is the better of the Bonfims. He is also riding a 4-fight win streak. His only professional loss came back in 2023, and he's done nothing but stack the wins ever since. Most recently, a TKO win over Randy Brown back in November as well. He comes into this fight with momentum, youth, and definitely something to prove against what would be his toughest opponent to date. XR percentage, Bonfim, 73%. He gets the nod there. Muhammad is slightly lower, nothing crazy, but he is down at 67%. There is a small gap, but the direction of it matters as well. The rising contender's winning more rounds than the former champion right now. That's a number worth sitting with. So the striking, remarkably, pretty even. Belal lands 4.43 significant strikes per minute with a .60 differential, absorbing just under 4 per minute. Not too bad. Bonfim lands 4.50 significant strikes per minute with a .89 differential, absorbing 3.61 per minute. Slightly higher output, slightly lower absorption. The edge in striking efficiency goes to Bonfim, but it's not dramatic. But that's not where Belal wants to be. It shouldn't be, at least, as we've seen proven over and over. But hopefully he can do something with where his strength lies. The grappling is where Belal has always lived. 80% control rate in clinch and ground time. He built his entire championship run on smothering opponents, grinding them down and controlling where the fight goes. The concern is the recent performance. 0 for 7 on takedowns against Ian Machado Gary, 3 of 9 in his title loss to JDM. The grappling that made him champion has been neutralized in his last 2 fights by opponents who figured out that blueprint. And my concern, and something I talk about with Dave Ross on First Strike every single week, is relying on a fighter to do what we expect him to do is sometimes the most dangerous thing. And that's what's dangerous with Belal Muhammad, is expecting him to go back to his takedown ways and his grappling ways has been his downfall, because he hasn't been able to do that successfully, or he backs out of that plan when he can't do it in the first round. So Bonfim holds a 70% control rate of his own in clinch and ground time and a 76% takedown defense. This is one of his tougher grappling opponents. It won't be an easy out on the mat. And as we've seen twice now, keeping Belal on the feet is how you beat him. The model, though, when we run the numbers, it does land on the former champion, but very carefully. Belal Muhammad, 61% win probability. And right away, as you can see on the screen, T5 trap favorite. His odds, even at -125, which is a very approachable number on paper, right? You see a former champion, small losing streak. Maybe this is the way he gets right. -125 looks like it's a very approachable number, which on the surface sounds reasonable if I were to tell you Belal Muhammad at -125. But the model's designation of a trap favorite is the warning sign we've just been respecting those warnings all year, and it's paid off, right? It kind of in reverse, right? We'd be losing a lot more bets if we were jumping on every single tier 5. That tier, as I mentioned, it's the underperformance tier, 56% in 2026. This isn't a spot to force action just because the price looks palatable, right? It looks appetizing. Sometimes underdogs look appetizing and sometimes favorite look appetizing. Doesn't mean we jump on it right away. It's a stay away for me on the money line. Here's where it gets interesting, though. This fight could be a spot to explore some prop markets that I don't usually jump on. I haven't really leaned into it much this year, as much as I'd planned to, but takedown props, striking volume props, the model does explore significant strikes landed per minute, as you can see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the right side, but it's projecting 87 strikes landed for Belal, 90 for Gabriel. So with those type of numbers, I'd like to look at some significant strike props, because I do think this fight kind of drags out. Belal is a tough out, to say the least. He's not a guy you can finish easily. We'll see how that plays out Or you can always look to the over 3.5, I believe, is where the round prop is currently, which kind of suggests a finish, but I don't think we get there. I think this is a tough fight for both men. I think it stays pretty even. Bilal attempting a certain number of takedowns is interesting to me, or total significant strikes from Gabriel is interesting to me, depending where the numbers land here in Vegas later in the week. Usually I don't get those till Thursday or Friday. The matchup sets up well for that kind of digging, though. I'll be looking at what's available as the week develops. I'll report back, maybe on Twitter. Check me out at the Rabio. Bilal is the prediction. That's who the model believes can win, but the money line is a pass at the moment. I'll keep an eye on the props. All right, and that is UFC Vegas 118. The model. We are 62, 34, and 6 on the year. Let's keep it rolling, grinding forward. The process will hold. As always, find me on Twitter, X, and Instagram at the Rabio. If you're enjoying the show, please, please, please subscribe, leave a rating, share the episode, smash that like button, as they say, and share it with a fellow fight fan, please, or a non-fight fan. They might just like the soothing sound of my voice. Either way, it means a lot whatever you do with this episode, because if you've been listening, I appreciate it. We will talk next time, and if you haven't, check out fightingwithnumbers.com. Right now, just do it. If you're driving, pull over, look it up on your phone. It looks great on a phone, by the way. Fightingwithnumbers.com. Look at it right here. It's so beautiful. And look, if you go to about, bam, there's a picture of me. Who doesn't want to see more pictures of me? Pretty much everybody. But that was Fighting with Numbers, episode 44. Appreciate you all for tuning in again. I will catch you next week for the bigger double title card. Enjoy the violence, y'all. See you next week. And hey, go Spurs.
Perfect.